And now, from Pensacola, Florida, it's Within Reason with Bob Kerrigan and Bill Rankin.
Well, good evening to, and welcome to Within Reason, Bob Kerrigan.
And Bill Rankin.
We're here.
More than happy to be here. Almost giddy to be here.
Bill was warming up, had some warm-up material before we went out. I told him just hold it, because we're going to get to it in a minute. But I do want to start tonight by telling you of an encounter I just had before the program.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear that.
At a convenience store. I went in the convenience store and bought what I was going to buy and came back, and it wasn't beer, but it was something else. So I came back in line.
I'm glad you clarified, because I kind of had that in mind.
I know you did.
Need a little more beer.
No. So I got back in line, and this woman was behind me, and she said, "I see you on TV." I said, "Well, thank you very much. It's quite flattering, you know." Yeah. She said, "You're quite opinionated." I said,
"Well, that's the point."
I said, I am. She said, "Well, it's okay to have opinions." She was just a little harshness on the edge,
Yeah.
but then she said, "Well, are you the Republican or the Democrat?" And I said, "Well, I am very opinionated, and I'm the Republican." So she seemed quite happy with that result.
Whatever you think of the show, it would not be improved by saying, "What do you think about that?" I don't know what I think. I have no idea.
No.
Let's move to the next topic.
That's the other program. That comes on later. Now, I started this program by asking Bill a question, so I'm going to ask him
now I know
again.
the answers.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Number of private U.S. citizens killed in terrorist attacks in 2010.
And we knew it. You got to know it's not many.
Yeah, 15, okay? And then we contrasted that with the number of people killed by falling televisions. It was one more 16.
Yeah.
Now, but here's the statistic.
How many people died as an indirect result of waiting in line for the TSA?
Or from some kind of transmission
Radiation?
of something from either radiation or the pat down.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this question. Percentage increase in the average annual federal spending during the Obama administration. Now, I want to ask the question again, because it's a very important question that you need to answer today.
From Bush spending? Depends on how you measure this now. This could
percentage
be
increase in average annual federal spending from beginning to end, the average.
Of the administration.
During the Obama administration. What is that percentage?
It went down.
What is that percentage? No, the average during the whole thing.
The average percentage change.
The average percentage change, annual federal spending during the Obama administration. Yeah. Average annual federal spending.
Minus 10%.
No, 2.4. So it was more. I mean, there's more
spending.
spending.
He's spending more. He's managing to spend more. Even if those ridiculous stimulus programs, it's still going up.
Rank of rate of increase among the lowest under any president since Truman. Which one is he of those people?
Well, he'd probably be the lowest.
Yeah, number one.
Yeah.
So what's the...
Well, that's because he started out spending such astronomical amounts of money, you couldn't top it. I mean, that's a phony issue.
But the average of everything is 2.4%.
Yeah,
okay.
But he started out spending extra trillions of dollars.
Let's say it was 12%. Let's say he started at 12. Okay.
No, he started at a certain amount of money.
Okay.
And I thought it went down because they spent so much money in the beginning, and it actually went up. I mean, the first year Obama was in office was the year when they just spent that extraordinary amount of money.
You know, you can...
The United States borrows, what, like $40,000 a second. What are you saying, they're not spending enough?
No. I'm saying, how can you take something so basic like this and make it look completely ridiculous?
No.
He has the lowest
in his first
annual
year
spending increase. The lowest.
That's because he started spending a dreadful...
Don't you give him credit that over it all, it's an average is the least since Truman?
That's just because he couldn't get his hands on more money to spend. He spent all he could.
What else do you got tonight?
Stimulating everything.
I think the point, I mean, really, if we're having a...
Well, so while we're talking about...
the fans out there holding up a card, I'm getting a 9, and you're getting a 2 on this issue.
Well,
you're
I'm sure it's a very fair ranking of yourself.
But now, what's your nightly blast?
I got a letter. It's not a blast. It's an observation. I got a letter from President Food Stamp. And it went on, and you're going to try. I brought it. We went to lunch today. I brought it to lunch, and then I lost it.
No, so you're going to paraphrase.
I'm going to paraphrase it
and then criticize it. I just want to make sure I understand. But you're not going to actually read the letter. No.
Well,
because you forgot
you're not
going
to disagree with what the letter basically says.
What do you mean I'm not going to disagree? I've heard what
You're not going to disagree.
I haven't heard what you're going to say.
All right, I'll say it, and then you get a chance to agree or disagree. But you're an honest person. You'll agree.
Okay.
Basically, the idea was that President Obama is for the middle class. He's going to fight for the middle class. He's been fighting for the middle class.
I agree.
And the big problem in this country are the greedy rich that aren't paying their fair share. He said it many times. It's not going to be a surprise. Doesn't that sound like Obama?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
He didn't say they're greedy. He just says that the tax burden is disproportionately falling away from the very wealthy.
Well, the way they talk about this, tax breaks have been showered on the wealthy who are not paying their fair share.
Well, that's probably true, though.
That's it.
That's probably true.
Now, are you paying your fair share or not? You're wealthy.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, right.
I guarantee you,
I want to ask. I want to ask
Yeah.
President Food Stamp.
Yeah.
What is my fair share of the money the Karzai brothers stole and used to buy stuff in Dubai? What would be my share of that?
I don't know.
What's my share of the money the government wasted building special train lines for Nancy Pelosi and flying her Botox self back and forth across the country?
You can always find government waste, though. Have you seen the latest report on Iraq?
Yeah.
Just out?
They really don't know exactly how much fraud there was, but it was a lot.
Billions and billions and billions of
Now,
dollars.
you got to blame the Bushies for that.
Well, you blame them all. I don't blame Bush. I blame Obama. Obama continued the war and had a surge in Afghanistan.
The surge was in Afghanistan.
Right, but I'm saying he had a surge, which at this time people were saying, no, we're going to de-escalate the military.
And part of the reason for fighting in Afghanistan is Pakistan's right next door, and they're our important ally. Pakistan, our important ally, got mad at us and started charging us even more to transit the country with the stuff we're giving to Afghanistan.
All right, now you've been very unfair to Pakistan, so I'm going to give you a statistic, okay? The amount that Pakistan fined each of Osama bin Laden's widows for their illegal stay in the country. They fined them.
They fined them?
They fined them.
I didn't know that.
How
I don't know.
What would you guess?
$2,000.
$110 each.
They fined Obama's widows.
They fined Obama's widows for illegally being in the country, $110 each.
Pakistan is it's like those pictures on either side of the stage, you know, one's frowning and one's smiling. I mean, they're our allies and they're fighting terrorists, and then half of the terrorists are sponsored by the ISI.
Right.
I mean, they're in a bad spot for sure. They're in a bad spot geographically, and they're in a bad spot politically, and they're a very poor country, and they're full of corruption. And why don't we just leave them alone?
Except they have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that is a problem.
That is a big problem.
Our ally.
Now, of the 5,000 nuclear warheads, you need to read Rachel Maddow's new book.
I couldn't.
It's a book. It's not going to bite you. There's some valuable information in this book.
One of those compassionate liberals who just wants the government to seize more money and hand it out to somebody.
She's talking about the military and the fiasco that we're dealing with the United States military, and the story of the nuclear weapons account of 5,000 nuclear warheads is quite disturbing to hear it. Quite disturbing. Among other things, that they lost track of 9 of them on a tarmac where they thought they were surplus weapons or something. Yeah, for 9 hours.
Do you think our military's bloated?
Just a tad bit.
I think so, too.
Yeah, just a tad.
I think so, too. And there are so many people who reflexively say, you're weakening America. The Navy's going down in size. And, I mean, by so many orders of magnitude, we're the strongest military in the world. I really think that rational policies toward the military, which means not letting congressmen dictate. Jeff Miller, and a lot of people will like this because this is a help to our area.
Of course,
but he put in some kind of a bill. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
A bill that the F-35s have to stay at Eglin. Well, letting these people micromanage it just makes it extraordinarily wasteful.
It does.
The military is just
you know what percentage
wasteful.
of our GDP is military spending in this country?
I don't.
4%.
Wow.
That is the gross domestic
really
product. That's every dime spent. That's how the gross domestic product is calculated. Every dime spent from all sources, 4%. Do you know what percentage it is of our budget, of our federal budget?
Something like 20%?
Yeah, I think it's between 23 and 24%.
And
that doesn't count a lot of stuff.
Anybody who talks honestly, they had Alan Simpson and Bowles on CNBC early in the morning. And they were the only ones speaking accurately. Everybody's got their head in the sand, hurling insults at each other. Meanwhile, we're going over a cliff. We're $15 trillion in debt. An extra $5 trillion since your great socialist leader took over. $5 trillion. It's almost beyond comprehension.
I thought Cheney said that deficits don't matter. If you had enough deficits, you
anybody with any sense
increase the debt.
Well, you don't trust Cheney, and I don't either.
Well, I would only trust him if he wasn't drinking and didn't have a shotgun. Then I would trust him. But when he's in the sauce, which he was, and gets a gun in his hand, he can shoot you and nearly kill that guy in Texas. That was our vice president. But, you know, they never wanted to interfere and actually test him for the blood alcohol. And the guy in Texas decided he wasn't going to prosecute him for shooting him in the head when he was tanked up. Because Cheney said, yeah, sorry, Cheney said he had one beer. He just had one beer. That's all he had. All right, now I want to ask you this question. Let's go to another subject.
Okay.
All right, I want to ask you this. There was a sports writer. We don't want to pile on this subject. Everybody in the country's piling on poor memory of Joe Paterno. What's the Latin expression, speak no ill of the dead?
Yeah. What is it? De mortuis nil nisi bonum.
Rankin has reminded me of that at lunch a few times when I launch on whoever happens to be deceased that I don't like at the moment. By the way, a new feature tonight.
Oh.
I'm going to forgive somebody tonight. Harboring these feelings of animosity for years, I am going to forgive somebody tonight. And every week, I'm going to forgive somebody else.
This show has descended through unsupportable and unverifiable political commentary. Now you're going to do Crime Stoppers, and now you're doing healing and forgiveness.
No, I'm just
like the televangelist.
Like the televangelist. Only I'm going to forgive people. You want to know who I'm going to forgive? Just so I can start with that.
Who?
Okay, I'm forgiving tonight, on television, in front of all of you, a man named Doug Mosley.
Uh-huh.
You know who he is?
No. What did Doug do?
Doug was a SEC official that was at the Florida game in 1966.
You've been mad all the time since 1966.
I have. I've tried to let it go several times, and every time I think about it, it comes back.
What are the chances Doug is going to know about your forgiveness or care?
I don't think he's with us right now.
Oh,
but
anyway, that's right, he's deceased.
Probably. It's a lot easier to criticize people that are gone because you don't get a lot a lot of feedback.
You bet.
Their relatives sometimes get upset. Anyway, I'm forgiving him
for
this.
He made a bad call in 66.
Made a bad call.
Yeah.
It was a call that fixed the game for the University of Florida. And poor FSU got hammered after they'd beaten Florida in 64. Then they lost the game, and the catch was made in the end zone, 5 feet in the end zone by a guy named Lane Fenner. Lanefenner. Lane Fenner.
I hope our viewers care a lot more about this than I do.
I just wanted you to know that, okay.
Lane Fenner actually caught the ball.
Of course he got the ball.
In 1966.
66.
Caught it.
There were probably 50 photographs of it. Yeah. Anybody knows about that. You're apparently not that well informed about that. You're University of Florida. I thought you'd know that.
Well,
where they don't talk
1966.
About Florida doesn't talk about that play. They don't talk about it.
So what did he do?
A public forgiveness.
Call him out?
Of the official. He called him out of bounds.
Yeah. Oh, and he was right in the middle of the end zone.
Not in the middle. No, he was about 4 feet inside. But it was
pretty clear.
And his knee was on the ground when he had the ball. Okay? I forgive him.
Okay.
And I feel better.
What a very generous thing to do.
Thank you. Do you have anything 66. That you want to go to now? Because I got that out of the way. Do you have anything?
Well, no. This isn't in our order.
Well, let's not do that.
We're going to talk about.
You want to do that? It'd be out of order.
Yeah, we won't do it because we're trying to be organized. Although you wouldn't notice it.
All right, let's go. All right,
I got some.
All right, you go ahead.
Yeah. The Democrats are spreading fear around that the Republicans are going to mess with your Social Security. They are.
They've tried to do it in the past.
Yeah. Well,
tried to snatch their greedy paws all over it and dump it on their stockbroker buddies. That's what they tried to do. That's what your boy Bush did.
He wanted to privatize it.
Oh, privatize it.
I wish it had been privatized. We'd be getting a lot more money.
He wanted to give our money, to the stockbrokers. That's basically what he wanted to do.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what we've done with our money now, the Social Security Trust Fund? The Congress grabbed it and spent it.
Well, better the Congress spend it than the
They spent it.
stockbrokers.
And they gave back an IOU, which is now, in the lockbox is a IOU from Congress. We owe you the money.
I agree.
Really?
There is a
All
lot.
right, it starts out, when FDR started the Social Security program, it was supposed to be completely voluntary. No longer voluntary. Participants would only have to pay 1% of the first $1,400 of their actual income. Now it's 7.65% on $90,000. That the money the participants elected to put in the program would be deductible from their income tax purposes each year. No, that's been changed.
Yeah.
All by the Democrats. The money that participants put in the independent trust fund, rather than putting in the general operating fund, would only be used to fund Social Security. The way they get around that is, well, it's in the trust fund, we just borrowed it.
Borrowed the money.
So
yeah. But they've all done it, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They've all done it.
The annuity payments to retirees would never be taxed as income. No, that didn't happen. And which party took the trust fund and put it in the general fund? That was Lyndon Johnson and the Democrats. Which political party eliminated the income tax deduction for Social Security withholding? The Democratic Party. Which political party started taxing Social Security? The Democratic Party, with Al Gore casting the tie-breaking vote.
Could I ask this question? Which party came up with the idea of Social Security, which we have, what, 60 million people getting it? And what party was he in?
Yeah, he was in the Democratic Party.
Well,
and I got to concede,
that point is,
overall,
it's worked well.
I think it has worked.
Why are the Republicans?
I think it has
why were
worked
they so opposed to Social Security? Do you think now, in retrospect, do you think they would ante up at the bar
Back
and
in the
say,
30s?
"I screwed up. We screwed up. Our party was completely whacked out"? Do you think they'd say that?
The cynical view is
okay, give me
that the Democrats wanted people to be dependent on government. And that's one of the reasons that there was a move among Republicans to kind of disconnect it, to privatize it. That would lower the power of the Democrats.
Where did you read that?
I read a lot of scholarly stuff that you don't get. I don't remember exactly where I read
don't
that.
believe what you just said, do you really?
Yeah. I mean, people were thinking that would be a good idea.
The people were
and
thinking.
the good idea would be,
You know which people those were, by the way.
Exactly which people. I don't know.
Well, I just wondered. What's the biggest entitlement program we have? I'm going to change the subject for it. In your opinion, what's the biggest?
I think the biggest entitlement program is Medicare.
No, I say it's the IRS code.
The IRS code is a mess.
I say it's a bigger entitlement for the wealthy and the corporations in this country. It's a bigger entitlement than all the welfare and other stuff that these Republicans are always whining and complaining about. Entitlements buried in that Internal Revenue Service code that benefit to the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
For the people who've got the lobby interest to get the cash.
Well, what they're doing,
but they don't call it entitlement.
They're letting them out of paying taxes.
That's it.
Now, on the other end, what the Democrats have done is we've talked about it, the Earned Income Tax Credit, which sounds like a tax credit, and it's actually welfare.
I think
it's
that is
clearly welfare.
I think that is the.
So pick your party. Do you want to give welfare to the,
Well, I think, you basically want to protect the poor and the indigent and the disabled, or do you want to protect people with loads of cash? Which one do you want to protect?
If you're going to give money to poor people, don't disguise it. Our tax code is a mess. We agree about that. No. It ought to be. What Romney could propose and hasn't is we could have lower rates and collect more money.
Well, I love it if it works.
It will work.
How will it work?
It worked in '86 when they got rid of the loopholes. The marginal tax rates came down.
Oh, I agree.
When the marginal tax rates were 90% and 70%, you think people were actually paying that?
No, of course not.
Of course not. They had a million ways to get out of it.
Can I ask you this question about Romney? Does this trouble you? He's not been exactly forthcoming with his tax returns.
I couldn't care less.
Oh, you couldn't? Would you like
what
to know?
job have you applied for where they wanted to see your tax returns? Now,
I'm not trying to be president.
Oh, that should be different?
I think so.
Do you think it's going to disclose that he's a felon?
I don't know what it's going to disclose. What if it discloses this?
What about the prurient interest? What do you care? What tax rate he paid? Like everybody else, he probably paid the lowest possible tax rate he could.
I agree with that,
And a lot of his income is investment income, which has already been taxed. And he gives a lot of money to the Mormons. I don't care at all what's in his...
Why won't he release it?
What have we ever learned from releasing tax records that matters?
Well, but I'm saying if it doesn't matter, why doesn't he release them?
I don't know.
President Obama's released his tax returns. Everybody's
looked at
isn't
that special?
I'm just saying. I mean, really.
President Obama.
Don't you think
and what does President Obama make a year?
Don't you think?
In addition to his salary,
I have no idea.
He's right up there. You know, he's the kind of people that make too, you know, he says where at some point you make too much money. He makes something like $5 million a year. He's making too much money.
But it's okay. It's out there. Everybody can talk about it. When I'm confiscated, but everybody can talk about it. Here's what troubles me about it.
Why do you care? What if he's making $10 million? Does it make any difference?
What if Romney's reported tons of losses he didn't really have? What if there's huge problems in those returns that have never been audited? And as soon as people see them, they're going to say, holy smokes, the IRS should be all over this guy.
What are the chances of that?
I don't
Mitt Romney,
know.
if we know anything about Mitt. But yeah, you can say, well, it's the most important job in the world, therefore we need more scrutiny.
We need to know more about his financial and investment interests than his personal life. I don't care if he's had 6 wives or 2 wives or, who cares?
If you want people to run for office, you have some experience running for office. It was a demeaning process. You probably wouldn't do it again. And running for the president, President Clinton, what kind of shorts do you wear? Boxers or jockey shorts? What?
Or none.
Or none. That's not a legitimate question for somebody running for office.
It's a wonderful way to go to the first break, though, because that was very interesting that you pointed that particular thing out to all of us. And we'll be back here after we discuss some things during the break. We'll be back after the short message.